You're listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast, celebrating hunting dog heritage, competition, and community. United Kennel Club has been the hunting dog sports home for coonhounds, beagles, retrievers, pointers, cur, feist, and more for over 125 years.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. This is Trevor Wade. I'm the Coonhound Program Manager here at UKC, and I'm joined today by the Director of Hunting Ops, Alan Gingrich. What's going on, Alan?
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about some of our TOC coverage that we had, our winners and all that stuff. So good stuff today.
Yeah, today's episode is basically going to be just focusing on our semifinalists. I think you talked to maybe a past winner and some of our hosts from the main show. So it's kind of going to be highlighting some of the big winners and big names from the weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I talked to several of them. I think we talked to the 6 semifinalists. I did 3 of them. You did the other 3, but then I also talked to a couple other people that you're going to hear from on this episode.
Yeah, we both had big plans for on TOC coverage, the post coverage here, talking about, and we want to highlight our judges that came out to help us, our guides. We want to talk about event officials, host clubs. We want to talk about all those things, and even the regions.
There's a lot of things, a lot of good things to talk about.
There's a lot of information to unpack here, but we already have like an hour and a half worth of interviews here. Yeah. So I think what we've planned on doing, and we've talked to media about it, this week we're going to talk to our winners and let them get their spotlight, and next week is when we're going to unpack everything. We're going to talk about coon scored at the regions. We're going to talk about the coon scored in the finals. We're going to talk about everything.
There was a bunch of them scored.
That's right. So I'm really looking forward to that episode and compiling that stuff. That'll be available next week for you guys to listen to. So that'll be fun. But today we're going to focus on some good interviews that we got from different people, and I think we got some good interviews here.
We do, and let's just get right with it. You know, the first one that I had was Mr. J.R. Graves. He was there again this year. Had several dogs there. He himself had a dog in it, plus several dogs off of Willie. He was last year's winner with the Conor McGregor dog, the 2022 TOC champion. So I thought he was a great one to pull in for the first interview. So here's J.R. Gray. J.R., how are you this afternoon?
Pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, doing well. It's raining outside Friday afternoon at the TOC, and the sky's opened up here, and we got a little downpour right now.
Oh, yeah, but we needed it. It was bad, dusty.
It was. That little mile and a half trek back in here off the main road, man, the dust is flying.
Oh, yeah, we got it all over us and the dogs, too.
Yeah, I know. We brought a truck in here, one of the company trucks, to take some tailgate pictures here on Friday morning or whatever, and man, he needed to drive through the cornfield to keep the dust off of it really on the way back here. So let's talk about, you've been here 3 years. We had the Tournament Champions 3 years now, and you've been here every year.
Yes, sir. We've been lucky, been blessed, and it's been a great thing.
Yeah, so the first year, let's back up to the first year. What was the first dog you had here?
It was Mill Creek Willie B, owned by Kendall and Zach Norris.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did you, I forget how that turned out. Did you win your first round cast?
No, we got beat.
Okay, you got beat.
Got beat. So, it's still a great experience, and glad I was here.
Yeah. So what was your thought after the very first one?
I thought it was, just like I tell everyone, there's no other hunt, no other coon hunt that you can go to, that's set up like this. You all do an outstanding job. And I mean, if you're wanting people to see what a coon hunt's supposed to be like, this is the one you'd want them to come to, or, take pictures, send home videos and stuff. And it's just a great atmosphere and a great experience.
Yeah, it's more than just a hunt. Maybe it's more like an event or whatever. Yeah, yeah. So that was the first year, and then the second year, last year, you brought a dog named Conor McGregor.
Yeah, Conor was a 2-year-old off of Willie and Nick Emmel's Abbey female.
Right. And so as fate would have it, you cruised through each round, and you were the eventual winner last year with Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Yep. What was that experience like?
It was an amazing experience. I mean, you get up here, everybody comes most of the time, most people's like, well, I got a dog that can win, but you don't never really think that you actually, going to go through and win it all. Mm-hmm. But, it was a big blessing.
So before you come here, did you have a lot of faith in the dog and really?
Well, honestly, January and February, the dog hit his 2-year-old slump, and, every dog that I've ever trained, they go through that spell. And
yep.
I honestly wouldn't ever even came if it hadn't have been that I already paid the entry fee. So up until about the middle of March, he from January to March, he just was looking terrible.
Oh.
And about the middle of March, he started coming back around, and I'm like, well, I'll take him to the TOC, and if I do any good, we'll go to the Super Stakes and then come back to the TOC. And it wound up, he started clicking again, getting back to himself, and we went to the TOC zones in Lancaster, and Friday night he treed the only coon we scored on early, and then Saturday night he treed 2 singles, but I ended up, beating a guy on strike. We had a really good cast. I think we scored on 5 singles Saturday night. And we move on here. The first night, Thursday. See, it was on Friday and Saturday last year.
Yeah, it was.
So
yeah.
Friday,
two rounds on
Friday night early round. We had to treat 5 singles to win the cast. It was a shootout. I think we scored on 10 or 11 coons.
Wow. Yeah.
And then Friday night late, Connor, he showed out. I mean, we got lucky. He scored on 4. We scored on 4 singles, and there's only one other dog in the cast treat a coon.
Yeah. So that late round that you're talking about this year, now we have changed the format where we start on Thursday and just have 1 round, and then Friday, which is the night that we have right now that for round 2, which it's more relaxing, I guess, this way. But so before you went out on your late round on Friday, you probably didn't have as much time to think about like you would today, where you have all day to sit around and think about it. Yeah. How does that play in somebody? Is it easier, do you think, just to turn around and get right back out there?
I think it's easier because you ain't got time to think about it, Yeah. We come up here, eat a big meal, go out and hunt the early round. Yeah. Everybody that wins comes back. You go ahead and get drawed back out late. Next thing you know, you're already back hunting again. Yeah.
So, when you're hunting early rounds and late rounds, do you practice for that or train for that a lot with the dogs?
We try to. We always, normally we'll hunt 3 or 4 nights a week. We'll drive 2 hours north just to get in better hunting. Yeah. And we'll get up there. We may hunt 2 or 3 dogs early. Then we may, let them sit in the box for an hour or 2 hours sometimes and then hunt a couple more dogs. Or we may just keep on hunting them straight through. But, I definitely think that you need to practice on that, because some dogs, they get stiff and they'll dominate early round. You'll look at the scorecard, they're like, this dog looked awesome. Late round, you're like, oh, is this the same dog?
Right. Yeah. So you won that. So you're in the next on Saturday for the heads up, early heads up. Yep. So how was that? Do you like heads up at all, or?
Yeah. That's it. It's intense, because I mean, you don't realize it's almost as intense as being out there by yourself on that. Used to, you had to win that. You had to go out and score on a coon and have plus points at the world hunt.
You only have to beat 1 dog, but does that almost put more pressure on you?
That puts a lot of pressure. But it was good. Me and Nick, we ended up drawing each other, and we had
Nick Immel. You're talking about Nick Immel.
Yep. We had a great cast, and Connor ended up treeing 2 singles, and Gabby treated a coon. Then she got treed again, but it didn't matter. They wasn't enough time for him to do any good.
Yeah. So then the final cast, you went out on it, and tell us about that experience a little bit.
Well, you really don't know what to expect when you get out there, and I guess it, like you said, it goes so fast. You don't even really get nervous for. Yeah. Well, man, I've guaranteed 20,000, but if I come out here first place winner, that's $50,000. So you don't even really have time to get nervous for it. Yeah. But then you get out and you got, I guess there's probably 15 people walking in the woods, and sometimes that kind of spooks them dogs too. So you don't know how they're going to act. But we had a great time. The weather was good, and I think we ended up scoring on five coons.
Yeah, something like that. I think it was. It was a good cast.
Yeah, great cast. Yeah. Great people.
Yeah. So I was going to kind of ask you, what are these guys here? We're here Friday. We've got 24 dogs in it today. Still for Friday night's round. I was going to ask you, what are these guys thinking? But you really can't say, because you weren't in that position to sit around all day and
we didn't have time for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, Connor ended up winning it. So what's happened since then? I know you sold the dog.
Yeah, I ended up selling him to Billy Wolf and Austin Gentry, and they went on. I think since last April, the dogs won right at 96 or 97,000.
Yeah, I see some of the hunts they've been winning with him. So that's good to see, and it's probably you probably like seeing that as well, that they're having the success they are with him.
I love seeing people do good, especially people gets out there and hunt. Austin's a hunter, and he wanted something he could win with, and they've done good with him. Yeah. So let's fast forward to this year. Willie, your world champion Willie dog, had the most offspring here in the top 96. 6 offspring. Man, that's an accomplishment there as a breeder, you'd think. Yeah, the good Lord, he's blessed us with a good dog, and and Willie's thrown some pretty nice pups. Yeah. They've been pretty good to us.
Yeah. And all that really probably stems back from the 2018 World Championship, kind of a no-name kid from Kentucky. Pretty green still, I gotta say. Wins the World Championship. And then obviously people start breeding to a dog. And then to have him turn out to be the reproducer he is today and just pups everywhere. Everybody knows who Willie is. You know, it's a Willie pup. You don't have to say anything else. You know exactly what dog. How amazing is that story?
It's a great experience. I mean, you know, and it's something that you would never. Everybody, you know, everybody wants a stud dog or dreams about having one, but you know, you never really. And then to go on and go ahead and win the world hunt with one, and then him turn around and reproduce like he's, you know, it's a great feeling.
Yeah. So this year there's 24 dogs in it. You did you play the pick'em? We have this pick 5, you know, before the top 96 starts. Did you do a pick 5?
I got
this year?
on there to do the pick 5, and my phone just kept blowing up. So I ended up. I never did actually complete it.
Didn't finish it.
We had out of the 6 pups. You know, I was going. My 5 would have been 5 Willie pups, and I would have been the one out.
Oh yeah, you're gonna leave your own dog out.
Yeah, I'll leave my own out.
Yeah. So what dog did you hunt here?
I hunted a Scar, a 2-year-old off of Willie, and then Emmy, the one that won the world hunt, Lane Denny's female.
Oh yeah. That's a world champion right there. Yeah, top and bottom. So how'd your hunt go last night?
It went great. We had some good dogs. We ended up scoring on I think 8 singles.
Oh yeah.
We had a shootout. It was a good hunt.
Yeah. So top 24 is still in tonight. You got any rooting for anybody here?
I'm pulling for my good buddy Casey.
Casey Maggard, yeah. Lacey,
little Lacey, which she's off of Willie and a Trick Magic female. But you know, me and Casey, I know what Casey does. I mean, he lives about 45 minutes from me. So when I say we drive up the road 2 hours, you know, a night one way, you know, we probably got 20 plus hours of driving a week just to go hunting.
Wow. Yeah.
And that boy, I mean, we come straight back from the Super Stakes. He's hunts Sunday night, Monday night, takes off Tuesday, then we come on Wednesday, we leave, come up here. I mean, he puts his time in, he deserves to win.
Yeah, well, so you've been with her, and she's very capable, I'm sure. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't be as far as he is.
I think
without
she's
her.
won right around 130,000.
Yeah.
And
you know, there's you know, this hunt is set up for anybody to be able to participate in it. You know, get your 5 cast wins throughout the calendar year. That qualifies you for it. Go to the regions, be one of the top 96 to advance, and you come here and you're all in the money when you come here. So anybody that, you know, can afford the, you know, to go to get their dog qualified, it's not like it's a huge entry fee or anything like that. It does cost $150 to enter, but that's the one thing I like about the TOC here.
This is by far the best hunt.
Well,
I mean,
most anybody can afford to participate in it for a big payday.
Yes, sir. And that's what I like about it. You ain't got, well, so-and-so, we can't afford this. I mean, if you got enough hunts and you're feeding a dog, you can afford a $150 entry fee.
Yeah. You know, it's good to see, just like these top 24 that we still have in it is a good example of that. There's several dogs in here that are, you know, not that well known at all.
Yeah, but
that have a shot at it.
They're very well, could be well known at her Saturday night.
Yeah, could be another J.R. Gray here. Yeah, so... Well, hey, I don't want to hold you up. I know you're probably going to go out. You're going to go along with Maggard tonight.
I'm going to walk with Casey.
Yeah. So, well, I don't want to hold you up here, but I appreciate you sitting down with him here for a few minutes.
All right. Thank you.
As most folks know, with the TOC, we do a lot of we do some broadcasting on YouTube, and we have a couple of color commentators. Steve Burkholder and Rick Stretch have helped us out in the last couple of years, and they do a great job with it. On Thursday night, Rick does interviews with the 24 cast winners that come back in. He did that again this year outside, and that's always good to hear from each one of those. Rick did that, and then Steve sitting on the panel, you know, and back and forth a little bit. They're talking about those casts. But I had the chance to get both of them in and talk with them a little bit about their roles, and they put a lot of work into it, a lot of prep work for this, and do such a great job with. But I asked them about that. So here's Steve and Rick. Well, good afternoon, man. How are y'all?
Well, I'm feeling good. I'm telling you, I'm excited about tonight's event tonight.
Yeah, Steve Burkle.
Same here. I tell you, this is, this is what, there's 6 handlers tonight, and this is what they've been preparing for. So it's exciting watching this unfold. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I'm here with Rick Stretch and Steve Burkholder. They are color commentators on our YouTube live stream. And so let's start with that a little bit. You've been doing it now for the last couple of years. You did the TOC and the World Hunt, so you've got a little experience under your belt. So what's it been like doing these hunts?
I'll tell you, the first time around for me was nerve-wracking because I wasn't for sure what all we need to talk about, how much time we had to talk about. It is really, truly a production event. And seeing all these cameras and the people behind the cameras, I didn't even imagine the first time around that it would be anything like this. It really keeps you on your toes. People are helping all through the podcast or all through the event, and they're telling you which way to turn, which way to look, which way to do everything. It's quite a operation, really.
And it is. And you do some things kind of in the dark that you kind of like, hey, what's don't know what's going on. But
it's not super smooth. It's pretty smooth, and when it's not when it's not real smooth, it'll fumble you up a little bit.
Just like this year, we had you doing the cast interviews, the cast winner interviews, but you were outside and you cannot see the rest of the guys on the panel.
At the World Hunt, I thought it went real smooth, and we couldn't hardly do it any better. And then this year we changed it all up, and you're out there in what I would call the basement area of this place, and you can't see anybody, you can't hear anybody, and we're counting on the cameraman to count us down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And sometimes it's 5 to 1. Sometimes it's we're live and we're not live. It was a little nerve wracking for the first 2 or 3 interviews. And then they got it right and away we went.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about you, Steve, up there? You can't see him. You can see him. You have a screen up there.
I was able to see. So it actually gave me a lot of good things to feed off of and then kind of
spin off of what they were talking about,
and then kind of look at the card, and guys, when once you've won that cast, you tend to overlook some things that have happened,
Mm-hmm.
and of course we know the card doesn't explain it all.
Yeah.
But probably this year, working with Rick, when you're working with another color commentator, as I guess that's what they call us,
it is.
And you feed off each other when you're on live set. I guess probably the biggest challenge for me this year that kind of caught me off guard because I was comfortable in that role is now when you're up there by yourself and like he said, he's not there and you don't have that one to bounce back and forth. That was quite unique this year. It was a lot more and entailed a lot more than what I thought it would. Now I'm sure if we would do it again, I'd get more comfortable in that role, but it's definitely, for me, on doing the live stream, I've took on a whole new appreciation when I watch different sports, and I'm kind of a fan of watching the Cowboy Rodeo or whatever, the Cowboy Channel and that kind of thing, and it's given me a new appreciation because when you start doing this, you kind of look at what they're doing and you realize that it's just we may look good on set, but the people behind the scenes, there's people running everywhere and cameras changing and that kind of thing, so. It was a little bit to get used to it, but I can tell you, probably the time goes by so fast.
Mm-hmm.
You think to yourself, what are we going to talk about for 6 hours or 7 hours? When you have casts coming in and stuff. But they do such an incredible job of bringing in the right material at the right time. And I have to say, I think that the 2 or 3 times we've did it now, it's like the time just kind of goes by very quickly.
It does. It seemed like last night it just flew, or Thursday night. It just flew by.
Yeah.
It was slow to get started, and then once we got rolling, it just flew by.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, Rick, but now that we've started this, I think before, I'm talking from a hunter's perspective. I think before, guys would they'd win a cast, and whenever they got the card back was fine, But I actually think that the hunters themselves have done a really good job when the hunt is over, getting their dogs gathered up. And, it's like when that first cast come in, we really didn't, on Thursday night, we really did not have that much of a wait. It was such a flow. And I think the last cast was in here by 1:30, I believe it was. So that's pretty outstanding. Really.
Hey, the thing that I see when you bring those cast winners back like that is really most of those guys are not used to that at all. Have never been used to that. But like you said, they're doing a pretty good job of bringing it back, but you go watch that. It really puts their dog on a stage, and it's a good presentation of their dog.
Yeah,
it is.
It was kind of like a follow the leader process.
Yeah.
As long as somebody was in front of you, You could tell what was going on, and those guys that the cast winners, when they were bringing their dogs in and out, it flowed so smoothly after the first couple that I was really impressed with them and their demeanors, and it's just a different atmosphere here. You know, we're a higher standard atmosphere here. They step it up a bit, and the hunters have stepped it up as well. Yeah. They have conducted themselves. Yeah. It's awesome how they've responded.
Yeah. So what are some other? I know you guys do it. It's not a matter of just going up when the cameras come on, you sitting up on the panel there. You guys are doing a lot of homework before you get out there.
Quite a bit.
Let's talk about that a little bit. And you have to get your information together. You know, you guys know a lot about a lot of the dogs that are here, but you do a lot of homework. You go through scorecards, you talk to the handlers, and that you have to be able to provide as much information and talk about things that you do.
Yeah, I think this year that it seemed like we had some newer faces, more newer faces win the early round than ever before. And you have to do your homework with that. You know, do some history with those folks, do some background with them. And, you know, you can glance at a scorecard and, yeah, you can get the gist of it, but you don't know the conditions. You don't know really what's happened between A and B and 1, 2, and 3 and all that. But there's a lot going on with it. And today we probably spent a good 2 hours working on some of the information we'll be presenting tonight.
And, going into talking about that, going into Thursday nights, there's 96 dogs that come here, obviously 93 that confirmed. And so you start gathering information throughout that day, not knowing which one of the 24 is going to advance. And then once you figure out the 24 that are going to advance, then you kind of condense your notes down from there. But it definitely is, it may look easy, but it's definitely, but in the same token, it's a lot of fun asking people about their dogs and some of the background and how they got to obtain it and that kind of thing. But yeah, it definitely starts long before the lights come on, for sure.
It does, yeah. So this is Saturday, so we're down to the last 2 rounds here. This first, tonight in the early round, we're going to have a 90-minute heads-up cast, 6 dogs, 2 3-dog, or 3 2-dog casts, I guess. So, but the way it worked out here tonight, a dog from each one of the 6 regions represented. So how did that happen?
That just proves that the region system works. I mean, we got it really down to everybody's getting represented.
There for a while on Thursday, I thought La Plata was going to have La Plata, Missouri was going to have everything.
However they said it.
La Plata. I don't know who to ask for a correct one because
I'm not sure anybody knows.
But in talking about that, 8 out of 18 being in your top 24. Out of one region, that's pretty impressive.
Yep. Go ahead.
But hunting it down and getting into that round last night, and to have 6 dogs, and we have 6 regions and 1 from each region, pretty incredible. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. Pretty incredible. You could run these runoffs at a region to just give you an idea how competitive this is. You could do a runoff at every one of them regions, and these 6 dogs, you would probably have a different winner. Doing the actual runoff at a region every time. Yep. It could very easily work that way. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, we're going to have a whole lot of information, obviously, from the TOC that folks can go on our website and YouTube and watch everything from Thursday night that you did. And they just you just go on and Google UKC TOC or Tournament of Champions, and it'll pop up. 2023, and it'll pop up from Thursday's show. But let's move forward here. I don't want to take up too much time. I know you guys got to get back to the show's going to start here pretty soon. But with 6 dogs, let's we drew the cast here this evening, heads up cast. So in cast number 1 here, we have Hard Times Hobo, dog owned by Strickland and Galbraith from Kentucky, Jeff Rickless handling, and then the BTO dog, Big Time Overdrive, Nick Snodgrass, Jacob Bingham from Iowa, Nebraska. Jacob Bingham's handling. Your thoughts on this first cast?
Well, I'll share a little bit. I have a little bit of history with the Hobo dog. Obviously, I've hunted Jeff, as most people know, is a pretty good friend of mine. Yeah. I've hunted with Hobo, and he comes from he's a Mike Gilbert stock of dog. Yeah. And this dog, he trees coons. Yeah. When you turn him loose, he trees coons. He's very consistent. He's very steady. He's going to score. Most times, he's going to sit underneath 2 to 3, 4 coons. And I think he's just in that groove. He's had some bad luck with him. Then believe me, if you don't believe me, I'd love to record some of the calls on his bemoanings of some of the hunts that he's been in with the dog. But I just think that dog, he's poised to make it. He was poised to make a deep run in this hunt. He's proven that he's got what it takes. Obviously, last night he had he scored on 2 coons. None of the other dogs in his cast did, and that's how he's in the top 6. So I think that personally, Hobo, he could be one of your finalists.
Yeah. This might be his.
It might be his weekend.
Yep. Cast number 2, Honest Crowder. That's the blue tick out of Texas. Kevin Rash, handled by Travis Dill. Matched up, he drew the Bad Habits Preacher Man, owned by Caleb Griffin from South Carolina. Now this Preacher Man dog, that's the X-bred dog off of Sambo. And but Rick, what are your thoughts on this cast? It's got a blue tick in it, so let's not get Steve started with this one.
I don't know how much time you got. We certainly don't have enough time for that. That Preacher Man dog he's a crossbred dog, and he probably got more talk about this weekend about his looks than any other time. And it's actually his second trip back, I believe. I think he come to the first one, didn't win the first round, but here he is in the top 6 tonight. And I took a few notes on him today, and he had the late round last night, or the only round last night. He had 2 strikes and 2 trees, and he had a 50 and a 25 strike and 125 on both trees. All 4 of those were plus. And the earlier week through the week on, I don't have that note here in front of me, but he had a similar situation there earlier in the week. I believe he had 2 strikes and 2 trees, both of them plus. But that dog I think if he wasn't crossbred, and I heard the guy, Trevor interviewed him earlier today, if he wasn't a crossbred dog, he would be high up on people wanting to breed to him or get pups out of him, because he's brought back that preacher coloring, and I don't even know if he's related to him way back when.
Got those brown legs.
Yeah, he's brown-legged in the front and the back, all the way down to his toes, and he just has that color about him. He doesn't quite have that conformation about him, but I think that we might see that dog reach the finals. Yeah.
Hey, we'll give you 30 seconds, Steve, on this one.
Well, I can tell you
okay, your time's up.
Yeah. First on cast 1, the BTO dog. I don't want to take nothing away from him.
Yep.
That dog's a little bit older dog. He's seasoned. He's been treeing coons this part to get here. But I will tell you that on the Crowder dog, I know that the history of the lineage behind that dog, and the guy that's hunting him, he talked about how he hunts, and I heard from a lot of the guys that hunted with him, the dog's a hustling type of dog. He's a get yonder, get in there, probably a little bit more of an ambush style of dog, but he's definitely one that gets gone. And when you get in these heads up rounds, it's usually, and Rick, I'm sure you've hunted. I know you're going to beat me up on this, and that's okay. But I know you've hunted in heads up rounds more than I have. I've hunted in a few, but not a lot.
It's nerve-wracking, man.
It's nerve-wracking. And in the heads up rounds, usually the dog that hustles the most, they're toward the end, that one that sits way in there, can be the deciding factor. So I think that'll be a really good cast. I think that's 2 really good dogs.
Yeah, and really good matchups for 6 dogs. Really, they matched up really well. The way they drew out. So cast number 3 is the only female we have left. The little Lacey dog is off of one of the 6 that was off of Willie here, owned by Jack Maggard and handled by Casey Maggard. And that dog is matched up tonight with the little Joe dog, the Stallards, Rick Marshall from Ohio, handled by Casey Stallard there.
Well, I did an early pick after the casts were drawn out on Friday night. I did my own 5 pick 'em. And these 2 dogs are still in my 5. The other 3 are out, of course. But and I really feel like that just the knowledge I have of them and what they've done down here this weekend and what they've done in the past, one of these 2 dogs is going to advance to the final, barring unforeseen tragic event happening out there. And I wouldn't want to compete against that one. Whichever one advances, I would not want to compete against that one in the final round, because I really believe we're looking at our winner
coming from that cast.
I do. I don't like picking one over the other, but man, those are 2 top dogs, and their history has proven it.
And Joe is the oldest dog here left, 8 years old.
And for those, I've hunted with Joe a bunch. Never hunted with the Lacey female, but I've hunted with Joe, competed against him. And people think that they can beat him when you put him in thin coons, and he'll absolutely make you hurt. And then they think, well, we're going to put him in thick coons because he tends to be a little bit lower end strike dog at times. And he'll do what he did last night. Get the better part. He trees 3 last night and just really kind of walks away from his cast. Yeah. And puts on just a coon treeing performance. And and I'll tell you this about that cast. You got Casey Maggard hunting Lacey, and you got Casey Stallard hunting Joe. 2 of the best young rising stars we have coming in this sport. Both great guys. It's just I'm with Rick. I mean, these 2 dogs is when we picked out of the top 96. When we got to both their casts in the top 96, he picked first on one and I picked first on the other. And when he did, I said, "Well, I'm picking that dog too. I'm not swaying from it." That was the only 2 casts other than one other cast that we picked the same dog to win to advance. And I'm with Rick on this. I do believe that either one of these are capable of winning this whole thing, and given the right situation, obviously.
Yeah. Well, hey, with that said, I don't want to hold you guys up. I appreciate your time here, and have some fun tonight. And it's going to be a long night. You guys started about 8:30, and it's not over until
until
the last.
Every other one, it's going to be long.
Yeah.
Long.
Yeah. So, folks, check out the YouTube channel for the finals of the 2023 Tournament of Champions and see how this all turns out. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. My next interview was with Casey Stallard. He's from Ohio, and it was Casey's first time at the TOC finals. His dad's been there the first 2 years, but this year Casey was there and hunting Little Joe. Here's Casey. Well, here we are on Saturday afternoon, Casey.
Yeah.
That means if you're here, you're still in it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Not much.
Good hunt so far?
Yeah, great hunts. Can't complain. Great place. Good hunting.
Yeah.
Good people. Hunted with some really good friends and met some new good people. Just.
Did you draw anybody that you've hunted with before? Any dogs so far?
Yeah,
and who would that have been?
I drew Jimmy Ridgway here early Thursday. We live about 20 minutes apart.
Oh, yeah.
And we hunt together all the time. He's a really good friend of ours. And, you hate to draw him early, but we had a great hunt. And I drew Sean Byrne last night from Kentucky, and I've hunted with him many a times. And
he was hunting Scream.
Yep, the Screamer female. We've hunted a bunch together. And then the other 2 gentlemen on each cast I've never hunted with before, but we had great hunt, and they're really good guys.
Good guides and judges too.
Yep, absolutely. Great judges.
Good. So anything that stood out to you as far as how are you pleased with Joe's performance so far? Obviously he's winning, but looking as you expected or what?
Yeah, he's still, from the time we've had him since he's been a year old to now, he's still the same dog. He hasn't slowed down yet. Still,
coming up on 9 years old now.
Yep, he'll be 9 in about a month.
Yeah.
And he ain't lost a step yet. I hope he don't lose it tonight.
Yeah.
But he's looked as good as I could ask him to.
Have you been hitting him pretty hard as far as in the hunts, or how have you? Do you hunt him hard, or what? A dog with that kind of age?
Yeah. So when we got Joe, I retired my other dog, Image, that I used to hunt, and he was the dog I hunted for years, probably till he was 5. And I got a pup off of Image, the Osage Orange dog, and I got him going really good. So I started hunting him, and my dad took over on Joe, and he hunts him all the time, and he's done a lot of winning with him too, and he likes him a whole lot. So, he mainly hunted him because I was hunting Orange then. Well, and I never got Orange qualified for this hunt, just busy work and other stuff, hunts I was at. I never got him qualified. Dad had Joe qualified. And we got another dog that was qualified for the regional, so he hunted him, and I went back to hunting Joe for that. And I got Joe through there, and he got the other dog through. So that's I've stuck with him through here. But Dad hunts him all the time.
Yeah.
He's did all the work with him the last how many years, and I still hunt him. I've hunted him a lot too. But he's.
So what do you guys do for just like for this one? What did you do with Joe to prep him for this hunt? Much of anything, or on him a couple nights before
you just take him coon hunting. He's to the age you just take him out. Yeah, you don't matter if you kill him coons, not kill him.
Yeah.
If you hunt him every night or hunt him one night, he's the
Pretty
same
much
dog.
the same.
Yeah, so there's nothing, special with him. He is what he is. He's a easy keeper.
Yeah.
I like to say. So
yeah. So tonight's going to be the heads up round. Early hunt's going to be a 90-minute heads up. I'm sure you've hunted some heads up. What do you think about heads up, Cass?
I like them. It really. I've hunted in them where it's a shootout. Then I've hunted in them, you walk the one tree over here, then walk the one tree over here, back and forth when there's a leash lock and the hunt's over. So, no leash lock, but try not to get in trouble. You can't really afford to take too much trouble. But then on the other hand, you can get back in it quick too. But it's just, it depends, where you're at, if the coons are moving, how it goes.
Yeah. Well, with our rules, with the option to recast if another dog's treed, that you've got a lot of strategies to work with.
100%. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely different heads up with your guys' format. I've never been in heads up, so there's definitely going to be a little bit. So
I know you predominantly hunt PKC or whatever. Yeah. So have you gotten very familiar with our rules and it's and how different is that for you? Does you feel like it makes a difference in how you handle dogs much?
No, I don't change anything that, because, my dog, they're still, you always by themselves and stuff. And I'm not really one to keep mine on the lead. I always just assume to have him out anyways, if I can recast. So I go about it the same as all hunts. I treat every hunt really as about the same. I mean, they're all the same. It's just a little different circumstances. Yeah. I mean, there is no difference. Yeah. But yeah. I like the no leash lock. I really, really like that. That is my favorite rule. I don't like if you go to a hunt and got to keep your dog on the lead for an hour. I mean, that ain't fair to anybody. The leash lock. Yeah.
So you've hunted 2 rounds. So tonight will be round number 3 here. But in 2 rounds, did you draw a dog that you barely snuck by, or what was some of your toughest competition so far?
So the first night, oh man, I got bad memory. I don't remember the dog's name. It was a blue dog. He treated coon for 150, so that put him in the lead right off the bat. And Joe was treated in there, and I was struck for 75. So then I had a coon, and he treated slick. So then I felt all right. And another dog's head circle. Then the Mac dog treated coon, and I got treated again. And the Mac dog was treated again. I had another coon. And he had a coon. I think that put us maybe 75 apart.
Oh, yeah.
So, it was tight right there with about 20 minutes left. And Joe was blowing way in there. And Mac struck and treed, and he treed him. And I think he might have been in a hole or something. The 2 got him. So that, put him out right there. Yeah. And Joe was treed through there again, but they couldn't catch me, so they quit. Yeah. And then last night, so much stuff happened so quick. To be honest with you, I didn't know what the dogs had. I knew what I had, and I knew I was winning, but they treat, a coon, then they treat a slick, and maybe they come in, take a strike minus, treat another coon, take another, and so much was happening. I was going to Joe. I
couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah, and I'm really good about, I know what they got, but the one dog, I'm like, man, I don't know what he's got. So we sat down and figured it out, and the steel dog had 275, the Chevan female had 250, and Screamer went back down to 0, and I had 350, and I thought, okay. And they just cut their 3 loose. And Joe was 1 point something. I lost him on the Garmin. I'm thinking, oh, man, I ain't going to hear him. And they got all time to tree a coon. And they cut loose, and we were sitting there, and just like me and you talking here, you just heard him die through there and rolled over. And I was winning, of course. But like I said, there's 30 minutes. So I asked the judge, you hear him? He said, yeah. And I struck him. And I thought, well, might as well just tree him. I said, I don't want to walk out of hearing of him and give them a chance to tree a coon and get recut just playing defense. I thought, we'll just try to stick the dagger in it now. He's really good about having his coons, but he's a dog. And went there and he had a coon. So, I mean, little pressure there.
Yeah. We've 6 dogs left. We've got 6 dogs from 5 different states.
Yeah.
And ironically, as it turns out, 1 from each region.
Really?
So you're representing the Ohio region. So, So, I noticed you had some buddies that came out here with you this afternoon. You got some friends that are kind of rooting you on.
Yeah, I got my dad with me. We go everywhere together. I mean, like I said, he's the reason why we're here. And then my brother, of course, he goes everywhere too. And we got a buddy hunter that likes to go to a lot of hunts. He's been hunting with us a while and enjoyed it. He's out here with us. And it's great. And people, it's awesome. Yeah. I got And the people I hunt Joe for, we own Randall Drew, Rick Marshall. I mean, without them guys, I wouldn't be anywhere.
Yeah.
They're the best, you know.
How long have you been competition hunting yourself? How old are you now?
I'm 23 now.
Okay.
And I've been hunting ever since, I can remember with Dad.
Yeah.
I want to say I was probably 12 years old when they had the Spring Classic right there by my house in Upper.
Yep. Bucyrus, or on Bucyrus,
Yeah, it was
Ohio.
in Bucyrus,
Yeah.
and they moved it to Upper Sandusky there.
Yeah.
And, that was a big humpback, little. I thought that was awesome. And I walked along with Dad on every cast, and we had the Hillbilly Deluxe dog. And Dad got in Friday and hunted off and won it. He said, I want you to hunt him tomorrow. And I'm thinking, I was like, oh, yeah, I can, I got this, but little kid. But I knew that dog really good. And I went out there and they had 100 and some dogs, so, best score. And I scored 900 and got in the finals, and we split it. And that was the first hunt I was ever in. And from there on, I still walked with Dad. And I'd say I was probably about 14 with the image dog when I really started hunting consistent.
Yeah.
But I hunted them from the time I was 12 to 14 a few. But when I was 14, I was hunting pretty much any kind of hunt.
Yeah. So you've hunted on a lot of big stages, a lot of big time hunts and everything, down to the, deep into hunts and everything. Won a lot of big hunts. Yeah. You still get any nerves or anything?
Nerves. I've never been out there where I've been nervous ever, but beforehand you get
you still get excited.
If you don't have that, I don't know how you couldn't hunt. I mean, it's the thrill. I wouldn't say I'm nervous because there's really nothing to be nervous about. You're gonna get beat, and hopefully you win some. But just the thrill of being here is what I love. But no, I'm never nervous.
Yeah. Well, hey, I won't take up any more of your time. I'd appreciate you taking a little time
problem.
here. So
Thank you. I appreciate
think we got some more.
Doing.
Yeah, I think we got some hors d'oeuvres up there. We're gonna draw you out at 5:00 and do like we have all along. You're gonna draw your own cast. So
okay.
So good luck to you tonight, and get one more win. You're gonna be in that next bracket. You're in the 5,000. At least you can win right now is 5,000, but 20 and 30 probably, and 50 probably sounds a whole lot better.
A little bit, yeah. Be all right.
Yeah. So, all right, have a good one.
Yep, thank you.
Alan, we both had Dogtra Pathfinder 2s now for a little while. What do you think about yours?
I'm liking mine. One of the things I had the opportunity to now download a map of an area where I did not have service, and I've used it there, and it has worked flawlessly. I love it.
Yeah, I love the crystal clear maps. I love that I never lose reception on my dog's collars anymore. Highly recommended by me as well. Dogtra Pathfinder 2, the official GPS collar partner of UKC.
My next interview was with Casey Maggard from Kentucky, hunting Little Lacey. That's a nice little dog he's got there, made it all the way to the semifinals. So here's Casey. Oh, good afternoon, Casey. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Good. Yeah, Saturday afternoon here, and that means you're still in it.
Yeah, that's right. A lot less traffic on this road. I know that.
How's the pressure been holding up? All right.
Yeah, holding up good. Yeah,
you've been in these situations before.
A couple times, maybe. Yeah.
Probably the better question. How's Lacey holding up?
I think she's all right. You know, that's one thing I like about her. She travels good and rests good. So that's a big plus.
Hey, that's not every dog does that.
No.
Yeah,
no.
And you got to have that to win these bigger hunts.
Absolutely.
They're not all at home.
Yep, that's right. Especially, when you get down to a hunt like this, a couple casts and a couple of days on the road, it all takes effect.
So how long have you been handling her?
Oh, well, ever since we bought her, I've had her, I guess we got her in September of 2021, and I've kind of had her ever since. And then Eric Pite started hunting some dogs for us, and she had a litter of pups last May, and I was going to get married. I was getting married in September, so he got her and got her ready for the Super Stakes, and he kept her there for a few months, and now we kind of switch back and forth and stuff like that. So
Well, we're here Saturday, so we got 2 rounds left. We got the heads up round coming tonight. We got 6 dogs left, 5 males. She's the only female, so she's carrying that banner. The other thing is she's off of Willie, right? Off of Willie, and he had six offspring here in this top 96.
Yep,
and
pretty impressive.
It is very impressive, but she's going to be the top dog in that statistic, I guess, so to speak. But
yeah.
How long have you known JR?
Man, I guess I met JR. I was probably
the owner of Willie, the sire to Lacey.
Yeah, JR Gray. I'm going to say me and him have been friends for, I guess, 12 or 13 years now. You know, met him at a hunt one night, and me and my buddy Robert Barger, and asked him if he wanted to go coon hunting, you know, next weekend or something, and that's kind of how it started. And now, you know, he's one of my best friends. We hunt 3 or 4 nights a week together.
Yeah, man, that's quite a story. You know, before 2018, he wasn't even going to go to the World Hunt. A buddy of his kind of took him to the World Hunt, and that's since then. Man, what a story that is!
It has,
really.
Yep.
You know, if you really think about it,
Willie's been good to him, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. I remember when he won the World Hunt. Afterwards, I asked him if he wanted any breeder slips right away or not, and he just kind of laughed. Nah, ain't nobody going to breed old Willie. But next week he called me. He wanted like 3 of them, and you know the rest is history. Now he's one of the most sought after sires right now.
Yeah,
one of the hottest sires in the country.
He's definitely a dominant reproducer. You know what he was. He puts in his pups, and you know a lot of people like that.
So what is it that you like the best about Lacey?
I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, she's got a combination of things that I look for in a dog, and number one is, when she gets treed, you know, I'm expecting to see a coon. Mm-hmm. And you can't win a coon hunt without treeing coons. Yep. And, you know, she's naturally born as far as being independent. She likes to be by herself, and she moves around good. And one thing about her, you know, she's got a good mouth that carries well, and she don't really out-hunt her mouth. And that's one thing I like.
That's a plus.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know that you're used to hunting her in the hills, obviously, so it can get a little hilly here, so that's probably not anything you're not used to.
Yeah, you know, that's like last night, that cast where we hunted, it was very similar to where we hunt at, and I think that was a little bit of a benefit for us.
Yeah. So how have your hunts been so far? Pretty much have they been a breeze? Any close ones?
Oh, they've both been close. Yeah, that's what I told those guys last night. I said, I wish I could get a cast where I didn't have to wear the bottoms off my boots every time at the end. But they've both been nail biters, and we've caught the right breaks and came out on top.
So tonight's going to be a 90-minute heads up cast. What are your thoughts on hunting heads up?
I've been in one heads up cast and same setup, you know, 90 minutes, and I enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Do you know anything about any of the other dogs here that are left?
Yeah, I'm familiar with several of them. I guess Casey Styler's dog Joe and Jeff Rickless, Hobo. I've hunted against both of those, and the other ones I haven't, but I know who they are.
Yep. Yeah. So, well, I won't hold you up any longer, but I appreciate you taking a little time here. But we got a couple hours here before we're going to go hunting. We're going to draw them out here in a little bit, so you're going to see who your brace mate's going to be here in a little while, and I think the weather should be good here for the first round, but they're calling for a little bit of rain here again in the late round. But you're sitting at 5,000 right now, but I'm sure, you know, just like everybody else, that 10, 20, or 50,000 sounds even better. But you got to get past this next round to get to that good bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, up to this point, you know, she's paid her way, paid for the trip, and the rest of it's a bonus. But it would be nice to win one more.
Well, heck yeah!
That's
so
for
hey,
sure.
We appreciate you getting qualified and bringing Lacey here, and congratulations on your run so far, and good luck from here on.
Yeah, thank you guys for putting on this hunt, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
I had the chance to sit down with Mr. Caleb Griffin from South Carolina with his dog Preacher Man, the ex-bred that made it all the way to the semifinals. So here's my interview with Caleb Griffin. All right, guys, I'm sitting here, 3 Fat Labs today with one of our 6 semifinalists, and I got with me Caleb Griffin of Westminster, South Carolina. Caleb, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Hey, we already had a miscue here. I already forgot to hit the record button, but I guess I'm lack of sleep and everything else has got my mind all everywhere. But you were telling me a little bit about Preacher Man. Can you kind of go over that again? Maybe his age and what his breeding is?
He's 5. He'll be 6 in May, and he's a crossbreed off of he's 3/4 Walker, quarter blue tick. He's off of a dog of Bad Habit Sambo and a female Walker off Stylish Frankie. He's been a really good blessing to me. One of my good friends, or 2 of my good friends, Elliot Schuler and Mark Sandifer from around Holly Hill, South Carolina, they had him, and they weren't really interested in a pup at the time, so to speak. And so I got him pretty easy. Got him from him, took him home. Didn't tell him I took him that night, and he was just all natural. You know, he was the first pup I ever had that, you know, 5 months old, he would leave your feet wanting to run something. I mean, it wouldn't, I treated coon that first night.
Yeah.
It was just all luck. But
Just at 5 months old.
Oh, yeah. But he'd run anything that would run from him. Deer, bear, it didn't matter. He just wanted to run. And of course, the next day I made a road trip, you know, paid for the dog and got the papers. And then I proceeded to tell him what he had done the night before, you know.
Yeah, that might have increased the price a little bit on you.
Yeah, exactly. I was worried about it. You know.
Well, now here he is 5. We were talking about it a little bit upstairs before I pulled you down here, talking about him. He's coming up on the Grand Night Champion Hall of Fame title. You said he's only a few away now.
Yeah, like 2 or 3, I think, away.
Yeah. So tell me just a little bit about his hunting style. What makes him so successful in these competition hunts?
He can tree coons where they shouldn't be coons.
Yeah.
He can make coons, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but now he's no flashy dog. He's a 5 mile an hour or less dog. Leaves out of there, but he's a dead loner, and he can tree them. It seems like he knows when coons aren't moving, and he knows how to hit ridges and find layups. And he knows when to look for them and when not to look for them. He could tree acorn coons, timber coons, creek coons, just whatever he runs across. He's not one of these that's going to blow through and ambush them. He's going to tree them as he comes to.
Yeah, Westminster, where you're at there in South Carolina, what's the terrain like there? Mountains. Okay.
Mountains, hills and hollers and mountains. That's what. But you can go 20 minutes away, and I got swamp land, a lot of farmland down there. So I live in a very versatile area.
Well, that probably comes in handy when you're traveling to major events like this.
Well, for training purposes, like I know his first year, I think I hunted him 362 nights that first year.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't miss but a few. And I try to switch it up. I'd hunt him in mountains one night, swamps one night, beaver swamps one night, timber, big harvest fields one night, and I just kind of move it up and try to throw him in the roughest areas I can. I hunt him a lot off a boat on the lake.
Okay.
So it helps out. It's a really, really good area, but there are very, very few coons. We average maybe a coon every 3/4 miles.
Wow. Yeah, he's a slick looking sucker. I get a kick out of it.
If only looks could win a lot.
I know he was here for our first tournament champions back in 2021, right? And I know the media team got pictures of him, and he's probably our most used pictures. I would say.
I love it. That was an awesome picture.
Even on our World Championship banner there for the live show desk, he's the one on front of there.
Man, and it blowed my mind. Like after that first year, I had so many people that was wanting to breed to him, and everything because of his looks.
Yeah.
They'd ask me, how's he bred? And I'd say, well, he's a crossbreed. And then it'd be like cricket. You never hear nothing else.
He keeps winning. They're not going to be able to turn him down. That's interesting. But so let me just, before we get into qualifying for this and your cast this week, what do you think about this hunt? What made you get qualified for it the first time and continue striving for it?
The first year, it was just kind of a roll of the dice. I got my 5 wins, and then I was like, well, I'll go to the TOC, and I went to the zones, and then I come up here, and I was just amazed at how smooth ran this whole event was. I mean, you had non-hunt judges, non-hunting guides. Everything was pre-designated. There was no confusion, and everything you draw, you drew your own cast and everything. It was just really, really, really phenomenal, and I'd been to a lot of hunts, but I loved it. And so I was like, well, I'll go back again. And last year I misspoke the other night when we did the interview, and I made it to the finals of the World Hunt last year.
That's
so
right.
I didn't make it 3 years in a row. I made it the first year and then now this year.
Yeah.
But I love it. I mean, the way y'all do and the effort y'all put into this, it's fun. It makes it fun. That's what I tell everybody. I said, we're rolling the dice, having a good time this week.
Talking to guys like you and hearing that feedback makes all that worth it, but it really does. So, well, let's start back in the regions. You went to Comer, Georgia, is that right? Yeah. How did that hunt? How did your weekend go there?
It went really good. The first night I treed 3 coons. Went again. It was kind of a tough. One guy took a minus, and that kind of put me out ahead. And then stationary was put on me on third coon. And I treated, and I had a third coon, and that went wood. The second night I drew some really tough dogs, and I treated the only coon on the cast. And we had to swim through the swamps and the sawbriars to get to him. It was a cluster, and it was a mess. But we got there, and he had a coon, and 5 minutes left to go on a 2-hour hunt. So I was very thankful.
Yeah, but
over a mile and a half deep across the river. So
yeah, So double cast wins got you through.
Yes, sir.
And now here we are in the top 24 yesterday in our second round. You were the only dog left from Georgia, and you ended up making it through. So you're still representing that southern region.
You got to keep it going. You got to keep it going.
Yeah. So let's talk about Thursday here, round one. Looks like you drew a pretty tough cast here. They're all tough here. We'll get that out of the way right now. But you drew a 5-year-old English dog out of pocket with Kevin Moore handling it. Of course, Preacher Man. Then you got Hannah, a 3-year-old Walker that Jacob Lee was hunting, that Bubba Crawford owns, so that's probably from down there near your country. And then Pesto from Missouri, John Walker was hunting that dog. Do you want to walk me through that cast a little bit?
Yes, sir. We turned loose out the gate. One of the very few times that I've took first strike, and I got first strike, and he didn't go 100 yards and fell treed, had a coon. Went in there, plussed his coon up. The other dog made a tree in amongst this time. Back to our left. I recut him off my tree when we found a coon, and he went not far, and had another coon tree. Went down there, found that coon. The other dog was circled, and then I had recut him, and he was treed at the end of the hunt, almost out of here, but he had a third coon, and I never had to tree him.
Didn't have to tree him.
No, because he just settled in on it at the end of the hunt.
Yeah.
We ended up going down there, and after the hunt, he had a coon. Same thing. He treed 3. We scored on 2 for him, and I think another dog treed. Yeah, another dog treed.
Yeah. So then you moved on to Friday. Was this your first time making it past the first round here?
It was.
Okay. Yeah. And then your second cast here, or last night's cast, looks like Tyler Pettit was your judge and guide. Drew out with Libby from up in northern Indiana, Maddox and Mike Arnett's dog. Copper, a 6-year-old Tree and Walker male owned by Robert Church. And then a little blue dog, 3-year-old blue female, Zach Earls was hunting, named Breeze. Can you walk me through that hunt a little bit?
We turned loose. The Breeze dog took first strike. The Maddox Arnett's dog, Libby, she took second strike, and I fell in there for third. And that the Copper dog, he took last strike. So I was sitting at 50. The Breeze dog went around to our left. Mine went around to the right. Got in there like 0.8 of a mile, and I treed him. And about the time I treed him, the other guy trees the same distance to our left. And so we go in there and we score Preacher's tree. When we get in there and score Preacher's tree, the Copper dog was treed in about the same distance ahead of Preacher. So we found Preacher's coon. I recut him off that tree, and he, start walking back to the blue dog. We get in there, the blue dog had made a slick, shot the tree, so he was minus what he would drew right then. Maddox's dog come out to us in the road, so she took a minus on 75 on that. So I was like, well, I'm setting pretty good. I'm still 25 ahead. And I've got another coon. And by that time, Preacher was showing treat on the Garmin and everything like that. I still hadn't heard him. And we start walking toward that Copper dog, which was treating that thing. And I struck Preacher in as we got closer. And we scored his tree. He had a coon. And there was like 25 minutes left in the hunt. And we started coming back. The judge put the stationary on me. And I was going to let it run down. I was like, well, no, he's been there for 40 minutes. Yeah. I just went ahead and treated him in. By the time we got to him, there was like a minute and something left in the hunt. He had another coon. So
there
he gave me 2 coons, and that was it.
Moving on now to the top 6, and this is a little bit different dynamic than most of our major events. Now we got 6 dogs. Tonight we're going to hunt 3 heads-up casts. We talked about it a little bit upstairs. It's a little bit of a different dynamic and mindset going into it.
It is.
You kind of were thinking about it. Can you kind of tell me what you were talking? What's it going to take tonight to win a cast tonight? You got 6 tough dogs. I know. What are you thinking?
Some really good recut skills.
Yeah,
because it's not going to be hard for one dog to catch the other dog. Yeah. And just and with only 2 dogs, and they're all 2 good dogs to make it this far. They're going to be treeing coons. So just hopefully you catch the right breaks and the right hollow and the right place where your dog's going to get on coons and you're going to be able to hear him.
Yeah. I think, like you said upstairs, getting that first tree is going to be important. Get off the leash again.
You get off the leash again and get struck back in for 50 instead of being struck back in for quarter.
Yeah.
So that'll be after that first one. I believe it will have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Well, hey, you made it to we started out with over 1,300 dogs qualified, 800 entered in the regions, and now you're in the top 6, and you're at least guaranteed $5,000 with a chance for a lot more. So,
win, lose, or draw, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, Caleb, I appreciate you coming down and talking to me, man. Congratulations on being here, and good luck to you and Preacher Man tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, buddy.
Jeff Rickless is a guy that I've known for years and years. He's been coon hunting longer than I have. He's had some great hounds over the years. He's from Indiana, so it's somebody that I've known for a long time. Became good friends with him, played golf with him, and he's a heck of a golfer too. But I was pleased to have Jeff as one of my interviewees. So here's Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are you this afternoon?
I'm good, Mr. Allen. How are you?
Good, good. Here we are, Saturday afternoon. 2 more rounds for those that make it after this next round, I guess.
Absolutely.
How's old hobo holding out?
Good,
holding
good.
Up.
He's
Good?
young.
Yeah.
I've never seen the dog tired, period. I mean,
How old is he now?
He's 3.
3? Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be 4 in July. So, yep.
Been hunting him pretty hard?
Yeah, I've been real steady since, actually all through the winter and everything. I gave him a little break after his Super Stakes a week ago. He was a little hoarse and had a little throat issue going on, and talked to my vet, and I put him on some antibiotics and laid him up for like 3 nights, and it was fine after that.
Yeah.
But just hunted him actually. So I gave him Friday, Saturday, Sunday night off last week, and then hunted him Monday and Tuesday, and then came down here Thursday.
Yeah.
So
So how have your hunts been here so far? Are you pleased with the way he operated for you and everything?
100%. Has had a coon in every tree he's made. He treed 2 coons the first night and had a 3rd coon treed, but didn't have to tree.
Yeah.
And then last night he treed 2 trees and had 2 coons. So no circles, no minus, no nothing. Everything's been great.
You can't beat that.
Been by himself.
It's hard to beat a dog that has coons every time you go to him.
No pressure, no dogs around him. Just let him settle and tree.
Yeah.
He's pretty much that kind of dog. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. How long have you had the dog now?
We bought him when he was 16 months old from Mike Gilbert.
Yep.
Here in Indiana.
Yeah, right local here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, within less than an hour from right here.
Yep.
In fact, some of your guys, the field rep Doug Cundiff, his son-in-law, Cody Carter, and them, they hunted with him when Mike had him when he was a baby.
Oh, yeah.
He actually did some winning before he was ever a year old. So, yeah, he's come from right here.
Yeah. So, so far your hunts, any other dog, any cast that was tough to get by, a dog that stuck out to you that you squeaked by or anything like that?
The first night was, I don't want to say it was a breeze because none of them are a complete breeze, but like I said, they actually withdrew with like 14 minutes left. So I handled that one real well. The dog did, but last night was a squeaker.
Yeah.
We, coons weren't moving right after that big rain came through, steam coming off the ground. It was muggy.
Yeah.
And things just unbelievably got scattered.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a dog 7 tenths one way, we had it, and then another one straight behind us 3 or 4 tenths. So they were actually, those were the first 2 treed, and they were over a mile apart treed. Well, then the dog got treed in the middle of them, and then mine got treed past the farthest one, but he was the last one to tree. And I thought that might be a deal breaker. I mean, I thought, man, by the time they score this one, walk all the way back, score that one, score the one in the middle, and get to me, I might not have time to turn loose.
Yeah.
And the one that was treed by me, or that direction, well, he's going to have an hour and a half to tree another one.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of like, this
Is
probably
going to
over.
work out or not?
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And to top that off, when we start shotting tree, it's a den. It's a broke off snag den.
Yeah.
And I get to hitting on the bottom of that tree, and you can hear kittens squalling.
Yeah.
And I judge like, I hear them, and then I tap on a few more times, and mama come up.
Oh yeah.
So that was a good break.
Yeah.
I mean, you always got to have a good break to do good in these.
Hey, you were kind of down and out there for what was that, 6 months, a year ago or whatever, kind of dealing with some health issues a little bit, but your back issues.
Back
that's
issues.
Right.
1 year ago, March 21st, I had major back surgery.
It looks like you've lost a little weight. You're
I feel great.
You look healthy.
Yeah, I went on a major diet here about 5 weeks ago. Lost 20 pounds in 5 weeks. Been on the treadmill every day.
Yeah.
But the back issue is 100% fixed.
Man, that's got to make it a lot.
I mean, not even a twinge of pain since that surgery. So
that's good.
I was about done competition, and I was
good.
going to have to just maybe pleasure hunt some.
Oh yeah.
But it fixed me. I'm good.
Well, that's good. So we changed up our rules a little bit. We added some full elimination rules, kind of to benefit this event. It's kind of set it up for this event, this and the World Championship.
Yeah.
But so it's a little different from and this is the first event we've actually put it into play, but I think the feedback's been pretty good.
Absolutely.
You just beat the dogs you got regardless of score or whatever. And once they're beat, everybody else is out. You're done.
Absolutely.
You obviously have your maximum 2-hour hunt still or whatever, but if everybody else is out, you're done.
Yeah. We've, as far as, I hunt a lot of hunts and travel around, talk to a lot of people, and the feedback of what you guys at United Kennel Club are doing are unbelievable. I mean, everybody, commend you on, I mean, you listen, you've changed your rules over the last few years, which, back in the day, they really didn't listen much and change, but you guys have done fantastic on that. I got guys that are diehard PKC hunters that never hardly ever hunted UKC that tell me now that, man, I can't believe it. UKC probably has the best set of rules out there. I mean, you guys have really done well.
Well, that's good. You and I have known each other for a lot of years, and I think you know that I really genuinely I'd like to have the best, try to get the best dogs in our world hunt. Want to see them here, you know. So, but yeah, I think our rules are as good as they've ever been, too. But
by far.
So this next round we're going to have a 90-minute heads up round. How does as a handler, how does that change anything for you, or what? How is that different for you? What's the biggest difference for you?
Probably they won't change.
They're not gimmies. They're not easy.
No,
much easier.
No, in fact, probably are a little harder, but it stems back clear from the late 90s, early 2000s with my old Henry dog. Yeah. I had to hunt a lot of heads up cast in different formats of you guys and PKC, and I honestly think I've always said it, and maybe I'm not remembering right, but I think I was undefeated heads up with Henry for many years. Yeah. So I always liked him, and I still do. It's a little more nerve-wracking. Strikes don't mean near as much. Mm-hmm. I think
with our no leash lock rule or the option to recast, that there's going to be some strategy there a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing I'm thinking.
Kind of a handler's game here a little bit.
So I think the biggest thing I've thought of today is, you don't want to rush it and you don't want to push it. You got to call your dog for what he's doing. But I think a big key, especially if you draw another coon treer, is who's going to tree first. Yeah. Because you're going to be back off that leash.
Yeah.
If you take too long to get treed, that could come down to that, But
yep. Hey, you've hunted all around the country and obviously hunted probably a lot in this area. What are your thoughts on the area? How do you like this part of the country as far as
this area? I was born and raised 40 minutes from here, West Lafayette, Indiana, and I kind of almost considered this club as almost a home club. I used to come down here for years, almost every hunt they had. So I've hunted here a lot. Yeah. Older and heavier set and everything. I'm not a big fan of some of the hills, but it's great hunting. Yeah. This week I've gotten some hills, but there again, I've lost some weight. I feel better. So it's not as big a deal, but a lot of big country where dogs can operate.
That's
I like
what
that.
I was going to say. But most of the dogs can stretch out.
You got to have that knee. You got to have it with no leash lock and everything, because you're not going to have an opportunity to call timeout.
6 dogs in the hunt, and ironically, we have one from every region.
Really?
Yep. So you came out of the Indiana region, so you're representing Region 2, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah. So
yeah, I did not realize that.
Yeah, I didn't either till this afternoon. Trevor told me, he said, "Hey, we got one from each of the 6 regions."
That's crazy.
It is 6 dogs. 6 dogs from 5 different states and 6 regions.
6 regions.
Couldn't have drawn that up.
No, you couldn't have.
So 5 other dogs here. You know much about any of them?
Yeah. I know a lot about the Lacey female, Casey Maggards, and Joe, the Stallards.
Tough those dogs. 2, a lot of winning.
Absolutely. Both of those I've drawn several times. Old Joe, been drawing him since he's a pup.
Yeah.
A very, very consistent coon dog. He has his coon.
Yep.
Lacey, drawed her a few times already this year. Same thing. She's a little more action packed as far as quicker strike dog, a fast hunting dog. Good about having her coons. They're going to be tough. I know nothing. Never drawed any of the other 3. I've heard of them. I know the Binghams. I know them well. I've heard of BTO many times. Never drawed him.
Yeah.
Never, what's the gun or
the Crowder dog, the blue dog?
No, the other one.
So there's Lacey and then the BTO dog. Oh, the Preacher Man dog.
Preacher Man.
That's the X-bred.
Yes.
X-bred off of Sambo.
I know him, the boy from Kentucky. He's from Kentucky, right?
No, he's from South Carolina.
South Carolina, that's right. I know of him, but I don't know anything about the dog, and I absolutely know nothing about the blue dog.
Yeah. Yeah, so, well, hey, you might get to draw him, find out.
I might.
You might.
If he beats me, I'll have to leave before Burkholder finds me, because I'll never hear the end of it.
you know who Burkholder's going to be.
I was hearing it last night when I drew the blue dog. Yeah, you get me by that blue dog, you're going to think that, rah, rah, rah. But yeah, that didn't happen, thank goodness, last night.
Yeah. But, well, hey, I won't take up any more of your time, but good luck to you tonight, and
appreciate
you being here, and You're sitting at $5,000 right now.
Yeah,
but
that always helps.
One more round, you're talking 10, 20, or 50.
Yeah.
Sounds even a little better, doesn't it?
Yeah, those, money is definitely a great thing, of course, but when you get this far, you want the title.
Absolutely.
But absolutely, the money's great, and we appreciate everything UKC does. You guys put on a fantastic event.
Good judges and everything this weekend.
Fantastic.
Good.
I mean, absolutely fantastic.
We've had one question now.
I know,
all
the whole
weekend,
week.
and that one shouldn't even probably been one,
Yeah.
but hey, he has every right to question it, but not everybody would have probably. But
no, we haven't had the first anything of anybody thinking anything was wrong or different. I mean, fantastic handshakes. Hey, high fives. Great job. It's been good.
Yep. So, hey, good luck and thanks for sitting down with me.
Thanks, Alan.
On the next interview here, I had a chance to sit down with Travis Dill from Oklahoma, who, along with his dog Crowder, made it all the way to the final three. The first non-walker dog to ever make it to the final cast of the Tournament of Champions finals. So this was a pretty neat interview here with Travis Dill. Hope you enjoy. All right, y'all. This is Trevor back here at Three Fat Labs on Saturday at the Tournament of Champion finals, and this time I got Mr. Travis Dill with me. Travis, how you doing, bud?
Doing fine.
Good.
How are you?
You got your blue dog all the way here to Saturday at the Tournament of Champions. How you feeling today?
Quite an accomplishment. Yeah, I'm really excited, pumped up.
Yeah. Hey, so you're hunting a dog named Night Champion Rockin' R Honest Crowder. Can you tell me a little bit about Crowder?
Crowder belongs to a guy by the name of Kevin and Kim Rash in Center, Texas, and he's about 3 years old, and I actually live in Oklahoma, and me and my son, we handle him most of the time.
Yeah. Do you know anything about Crowder's lineage at all? His sire or dam?
Yes. He's out of Bo Diddley.
Okay.
Which is an Oklahoma dog, and his mother is out of Bocephus, which her name is Ivy.
That's right. Yep. That's right. So you say you've hunted Crowder pretty regularly?
Yeah, I've had him a solid for a little over a year at my house.
Okay. How would you describe some of his hunting style or traits and to make him so successful in competition hunting?
He don't mess with any code trails. He's more of an ambush style dog. He will be at least a half a mile in one area or another every 8 to 10 minutes. He's wide open. He likes more of a hot coon.
Yeah. So you started out your regions, and I believe you went to Conway, Arkansas. Is that right? Yeah. One cool thing that we just talked about, we just drew cast upstairs, and there's one dog from each region here out of the final 6. So you're the one representing Conway, Arkansas. So I'm sure you got that whole area rooting for you. But can you tell us a little bit about the regions and how that went for you?
Yeah, it was good. It was well run, and Conway, Arkansas, we drove about an hour towards Memphis and hunted right there at the edge of the White River, and it was really good hunting. Now, they had a little bit rain. It was kind of flooded a little bit, so we did run into some water and didn't get into the better hunting as we did last year in that region.
Yeah. Did you get through with double cast wins, or you were
single?
Okay. What'd you score there?
450.
450. So 450 got you through. Did you get that on Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
Friday. So you kind of had to sweat it through to the bitter end on Saturday, huh?
Yeah.
So then you made it here to the Tournament Champion Finals. This is your first year here, I would assume?
This is my first year.
Yeah. So what do you think about the whole thing, being here for the first time? And this event's a lot different than most of our other events, even the World Finals, just the venue and where it is and kind of the schedule of how things are. What kind of impressions have you got about the event so far?
Well, the venue is really nice, and it's impressive. It really is impressive, because I was telling somebody, the World Hunt, is $10,000. This is $50,000. So, I mean, it's probably 5 times larger than the World Hunt, I would say. And it's more prestige, and it's pretty nice. I mean, I'm very impressed with it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying yourself. Yeah. So let's kind of go through this weekend so far. So Thursday night, do you remember who you drew, or can you tell me how that cast went at all?
The first night here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I drawed a sniper dog.
Okay.
I remember his name, and good dog.
So an English dog from over in that area.
Arkansas
area.
He just missed it by a little bit. You know, his tough competitor. I tree a coon, he tree a coon, kind of went back and forth there. And then his last tree, he had missed it by maybe a tree and a half, 2 trees over, and that cost him.
Yeah. Yeah, so then you moved on to the top 24, and the Blue Ticks had a heck of a showing here. I'm sure we'll talk about this and some broad view stuff, but I think 7 made it through to the top 96, and 4 of them won their cast on that first night, and you guys were one of them representing the Blue Tick breed. Can you talk us now through your second round cast last night?
Yeah, and on the Blue Tick breed, there's one guy that's a major cheerleader for the Blue Tick breeds, and Trey Melton. He's really if on Facebook and stuff. I don't know if you have him, but he's all on the Blue Tick stuff. You know,
yeah.
He's 100% pro Blue Tick, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because he's a good cheerleader for us Blue Ticks, and they're passionate.
Absolutely.
And we haven't won, Blue Ticks haven't won much, and I think they're starting to win, and it's kind of exciting for the Blue Tick breed. But our cast last night, Crowder got a half a mile fast, and he got in a ditch, got treed, and I could see on my dog tree that he was treed, but you just couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy Smiley, the thief dog, the blue dog, he was treed. He said it was just maybe 100 or so yards past me, and he said his dog was treed. And we couldn't really walk to him because we couldn't hear anything. And then I knew Hawk was way through there. And so we couldn't hear him, but we got in a spot where we could just hear him just barely, enough that the judge could hear him and we could walk. Okay. And as soon as we got about 600 yards, and these 2 dogs you can hear a mile anywhere, but just so happened in that ditch, about 700 yards, we couldn't hear him. And then we got where we could hear him, and I got them treed in, and we went to both dogs, scored Crowder first, he had a coon, and then treed Thief, he had a coon, and then Hawk was deep, and he had a coon. And then so we come back to the other dog, the Walker dog, and I had 200 on down, and then Trigger was 2 1/4, so he's a quarter ahead of us, and we turned back loose, and Hawk had a possum, and it's scratched because Hawk was he's something to.
Yeah, the Hawk was one with 2 1/4, right? He was leading the cast.
No, but he was treed in again.
Okay, I got you.
And he was confident. I mean, he always has a coon looking at you.
Yeah.
So he was really confident.
I got you.
And so we were scared too because
absolutely,
because we know Hawk's got a coon, but he said 6.5 years. That's the first possum he'd ever treed. So
good timing.
It was for me.
For you.
Yeah. So I caught a lot of breaks last night. Got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. So tonight is kind of completely different than the rest of the hunt so far. We got 6 dogs left, and we run 3 heads up casts. So it's a little bit different dynamic than a 4-dog cast. You're just competing against one other dog. How do you think Crowder will do in that kind of environment?
Well, usually it doesn't matter if you turn 5 dogs or 10 dogs loose or 1. He goes by himself hard and by himself, and if something goes with him, he goes a little harder and a little faster. So I don't think it'll change anything in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, one interesting thing, I know you were Drew Preacher Man. He's an ex-bred dog from South Carolina, so this will be the first time in the event's short history. This is only the 3rd finals that we have a non-walker dog in the final cast. It's pretty much guaranteed for that to happen now with you 2 drawing each other. So some history will be made tonight in Greencastle. So I just want to say congratulations on being here, Travis, and good luck to you tonight. You at least got $5,000 in the bank, but it could grow pretty quick here depending on how tonight goes. So good luck to you, bud.
Man, thank you.
This interview here is with Jacob Bingham. Jacob's from up in Iowa. Him and his father, Jack, have made it to the finals here each of the years that we've had with different dogs. This year they were hunting a dog named Big Time Overdrive. Hope you enjoy this interview with Jacob Bingham. All right, guys, I'm sitting here with our last of the 6 semifinalists. This is Jacob Bingham from Iowa hunting Big Time Overdrive. Jacob, how you doing, bud?
Oh, not too bad, Trevor. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm fired up. We're here on the last day now. So you're hunting a dog with Big Time Overdrive. Can you tell us a little bit about Overdrive, his age, what he's out of?
He'll be 7 here in about 5 days. He's directly out of Overdrive, and then a female called Bella, who's directly out of Trader, which I'm sure everyone's heard of him.
Yeah.
I've owned him since he was 2 years old. My dad and 2 other guys owned him, and then Nick Snodgrass, my partner now, asked me if he could be bought, and I worked the deal and got it bought, and now me and Nick own it, and Nick's one that helps me send them all over the country.
Yeah, so he's over in Nebraska, but he doesn't hunt him. He stays at your house.
Yeah, he stays at my house majority of the time. I mean, sometimes he will go out there in the winter because Nick hunts in the winter and I don't. So Nick will take him out there a little bit, but majority of the time he's at my house.
So you said you've had him since he was about 2. How old is he now?
He'll be 7 in 5 days.
So you've had him for a while now.
Yeah. He's starting to get old.
He's been around. He was at the World Finals last year in Tennessee, right?
Yep.
He's done his share of winning.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's due this big one here, right? So
I hope so.
We were talking just before we went live here. This is your first time here. Your dad, Jack, he's been here a couple times with the Bugs female, and so you probably had an idea of this thing. But what did you think about this event here at the finals? Just the venue maybe, and the hunt format, and just some of the different things here.
Well, I mean, I've been to pretty much about every major event you can think of, and not knocking any other registries, but this venue is state of the art. And when you come to this hunt, they roll out the red carpet for you. I mean, good food, everything. They do their best to, make sure it is top notch.
Yeah, hey, we appreciate it. It makes it worth it just talking to the hunters. And there's a lot of time and resources put into this and thought and effort. So I appreciate hearing it. Overdrive, have you bred him any, or are you just still solely hunting him? Or
here about 2 years ago, I bred him just to find a replacement, and other than that, I have not bred him. I got a young dog out of him I'm hunting that's pretty nice, and that's what I'm going to be hunting when I get done with this.
Yeah,
but I haven't bred him. I'm not really into the stud dog market. Yeah,
I heard in your interview with Rick there on Thursday that this may be one of his BTO, that's what you call him, right? One of his last big hunts.
Yep. He's getting older, and I just got something else to replace him, and he don't do good in the heat, and he's getting older, and I just want to finish out this hunt with him, and I'll probably make another run at the World Hunt this fall with him. But other than that, he's about done.
Yeah, so hey, let's talk a little bit about his run this year so far. You guys went to the La Plata region, I would guess.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. What were your hunts like there?
Friday night we had a good cast. He treed, I believe 3 coon to himself. I think he had 550. And then he hurt his back Friday, and Saturday I went ahead and hunted him anyways. And needless to say, he did not look good. He was just out there, just a warm body out there running around. He didn't do much. And honestly, I didn't think I'd get in because the year before I had 650 out of that same area, and it didn't get in. And then I was driving home, and they told me I got in. So
yeah, you would have been pretty close to the cutoff probably. I'm not sure what it was, but I would say the scores were a little bit affected. You guys had some pretty rough weather there. I know on Friday especially, right?
Yeah, Friday they had a bunch of tornadoes touching down, and once the sun laid down, though, it really, like where I had to guide out of there, it really wasn't that windy as you would have expected.
Yeah, so then you moved on to here a couple of weeks later. So Thursday night, do you remember who you drew or how that cast went at all?
Let's see, Thursday night I drew. Actually, I drew 3 people I'd never hunted with before. Yeah. A dog Rod Vinson owned, I believe he called her Dixie. Another boy from South Carolina hunting a dog called Grits, and then blue dog from Ohio called Junebug, I believe is what her name was.
Yeah.
And really, we drove over to Illinois and hunted, and the first hour was real slow. Well, finally, the blue dog gets way in there deep and gets treed. Mine gets treed way left-handed, so they go to the blue dog, and I go to my first tree, and me and the backup handler, we sat at my tree for 40 minutes before they ever made it back to that. I had a coon, blue dog had a coon. Cut mine loose again, go to a Walker dog, the Dixie dog's now treed. Go to her, she's got a coon. Pull off of that, I'm treed again, half mile through there. I tree mine, go into her, go into him, he's got another coon. In the meantime, the Dixie dog's treed again. We walk back to her, if she's got a coon, she wins. And she's on a den. Just a break I caught, I guess. Because mine mine got treed again, but it was after the hunt.
Yeah, it takes a few of them to win these big hunts like this for sure. So we move on. We got in the top 24 last night. Top 24 drew out to 6 different casts. Can you walk me a little bit through that cast as well?
Yeah, I drew Jason Cooper with the Indiana Outlaw dog. Another young boy hunting a dog called Boomer. Then Orzo Miller hunting Hank the Tank. We cut loose and pretty much out of the truck, Hank went the wrong way. So he was treed for, I don't know, most of the hunt, about 2 hours, the wrong way.
I think we figured out you guys weren't hunting, but the way the crow flies, just a mile or two away from here.
Correct.
And we stood in the parking lot, the master of hounds and the event officials, all of us out in the parking lot, listened to Hank tree for about a good hour out there. Y'all could never hear him.
Mm-mm.
That's the breaks.
And yeah, and we were walking away from Outlaw, got treed in there deep right away. And when we're about to Outlaw, I'm treating on deeper than Outlaw. Go to Outlaw, he's on a den. The one judge, the backup judge, sees a coon up in the hole. The other judge doesn't. So we go off the judge that's judging it, and that's just another break I caught. He had 225 on that they took a circle on. Go to me, I got a coon for 200. And then after that, mine was hot and just wasn't. None of them were operating. Outlaw treed, left the tree. That helped me some. I said, then he blew in there and treed a coon. And then he blew in there and treated another coon at the end of the hunt, but it didn't affect our score any. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you're part of the final 6.
Yep.
You're in the top 6, and tonight's hunt is a little bit different than the rest of them. You've been hunting 4-dog cast the whole way, and now tonight there's 3 heads-up cast. How do you think, with him being an older dog, I guess that's not going to affect him any or anything?
I sure hope it don't. He's hunted in a few of them, and they're a different ball game than a 4-dog cast. I'd much rather hunt a 4-dog cast.
Yeah, it's going to be a little different.
When you get to this level, especially when you get to the last 6 dogs, they're not slouches.
Yeah, I think you drew the Hard Times Hobo dog, right? Yeah, have you hunted with him before?
I have never hunted with Hobo, but I know if Jeff Rickliffs is handling and John Strickland owns it, it's a winner.
Yeah. Well, you guys should have a good hunt tonight. I'd say there'll be some coon treat on that cast for sure. But hey, is there anything else you want to say before we kind of sign off here?
Well, I'd just like to thank Nick Snodgrass for allowing me to go to these hunts, and then I got my wife and son here. My wife lets me hunt about every night, and without her, I probably wouldn't be going to too many hunts with him.
Yeah,
but she roads my dog and takes care of him during the week.
Can't beat that. It's a whole family. It takes a whole family to do it. That's right. So hey, I appreciate you being down here with me. Congratulations on being here. Good luck to you the rest of the way. One more night. You're getting pretty close to a pretty good payday here.
I hope so.
All right. Good luck, Jacob.
Then Sunday morning after the final cast, the hunt was all over and everything. We had the 3 winners come back, and Jeff Rickliffs and Hobo were ultimately the winners. And I pulled Jeff in. He was a busy guy. Everybody wanted to talk to Jeff. Everybody wanted an interview with him, but I think I asked him for one more. Man, Jeff, can you just do one more with me here before we head out? And he was happy to do so. So here is my interview with Jeff after he won the whole shebang with Hobo. Man, here we are, Jeff. It's after 5 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning at Tournament of Champions, and you're still here.
I'm still
here. What are
we
doing?
Well, we actually
just won the dang
We
thing.
just won it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you always hope to win a big one when you go, but when it actually happens, you sit there and say, man, I just won this thing.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
4 rounds. 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
What was the toughest round?
Probably last night. Or tonight. Tonight was a little bit of a
When
nail
you say
biter.
last night, you talking about Thursday or Friday night's round?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Friday night's round.
Top 24.
Yeah, I just got down. I was treated at the end of the hunt. The hunt's over, and I have to have a coon to win.
Yeah.
Coons weren't moving as good, I didn't think, last night, so it was a little tougher.
Yeah.
We got spread all over the country, but tonight was the weather. The wind picked up. We were in some really bad hills. Dogs got. Oh my goodness, they got scattered.
Yeah.
It was tough to hear.
Let's back up just a little bit. Like we talked to you earlier today or Saturday afternoon, before you went out in the round 3 in the heads up round. But then you kind of breezed through that one, kind of got on 2 trees and the other.
Oh, I forgot about
yeah.
I was like, honestly, I mean, that was almost like not a cast. I'm not making fun or likeness of the other dog. He just took a bad break and mine looked really good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we turned loose and like just a little bit after the minute, BTO strikes, and then mine strikes just a little bit right-handed. We're on a little river, and mine crossed that river and just sunk in there that quick and was 600 treed.
Yeah.
I tree him. We cross the river, and as we're going to mine, tree BTO behind us, go to me, I got a coon, cut him off there, and before we could get back to BTO, mine's in there 800 again treed.
Yeah.
And BTO was on a tree that the next tree over was a den, and it just did not touch. I mean, they both, the judge and the backup judge and Jacob, man, I mean, they looked as hard as they could, and Cody Sipe, judge, and he says, I just don't see where it touches. And Jacob, he's, I mean, great guy. Yeah. He says, I don't either. I'm good. He said, I'm minus it. He said, I'm fine with that. Yeah. Walked to go to me, and he said his was just kind of easing towards mine. On the way there, he said, listen, if you got another coon, I'm just going to get out of your way. He said, I'm going to be 625 points behind. Yeah. And I had a coon. So, I mean, literally.
Yeah. And then you were right. You know, this final cast, the weather looked like it was going to get bad. And I looked at that radar and I'm thinking, man, you're right. But it kind of veered off to and you really it was windy to begin with, obviously, but then it kind of laid down.
Laid down a little bit, and we dropped down in those hills where it kind of blocked it. But I'll be totally honest with you. I was on the phone with my wife, and I'm real big weather watcher before these hunts and while we're at a hunt. And we were driving out there, I was 100% absolutely disgusted that the weather was going to affect this major of a hunt. I said, I can't believe it. I said, I think we're going to get about half of it in, and who knows what's going to happen then. And that's more luck than it is skill of what happens during the weather. But no, the weather played no part of it. Thank God it didn't come in.
Yeah. So, well, hey, it all turned out for you, and man, what a good run here, and you won the doggone thing.
Yep, love it.
So, what's next for the dog? Got some other hunts lined up next weekend, getting right back with it. I was talking to John, and he doesn't lay dogs much. No. He's got them to hunt them.
We got next weekend and the next weekend back to backers, and after that, I think we actually have a weekend off. Yeah. Me and John talk. You know, we kind of lay our things out for a while, and then the other day he called and he's like, "Let's talk what we got." And we were pretty sure they're the 1st of May. There's some stuff you probably could go to, but I think we're going to take a week off. He's got a new boat in Georgia, so he's going to go down there, and I'm ready for a week. Yeah. I'll be ready for a weekend off.
Well, we had a lot of viewers watching tonight on the live stream and everything, but $100,000 for this final cast, you know, so awesome. And you get half of it, $50,000. So biggest,
that's my biggest win, money wise for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. In my life. I mean, I've won a lot of stuff, but as far as a one purse win, that's, I know it hasn't all sunk in yet, but as of right now, I feel like I want a truck, you know, with Henry and this and that, but this might be the biggest.
Well, hey, like I said, it's after 5, and I know it's about time to milk the cows, so we better get off here and get with it. So,
Alan, I appreciate everything you and the whole staff of UKC and everybody that's been involved in this production part. I just want to say thank you, and you put on an absolute awesome event. So.
Well, you're very welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed those interviews that we were able to get there at the Tournament of Champions Finals. Again, man, what a fun weekend. We had a blast there. We always do. It's one that we always circle on the calendar. We put a ton of time into it and a ton of our resources into it to make it the best it can. We hope everybody enjoyed being there if you were there. If you weren't there, I hope you enjoyed the event coverage, and I hope you all have plans to get qualified and come out next year. Remember, next week, same place, same time. We're going to drop another one with a lot more information for you guys, where we can get more into dog information, owner information. We're going to talk a lot about the more specific details of the event, all the way down to the very, very basics. So I hope to see you guys next time. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. Be sure to give us a follow so you don't miss any of our new episodes or content.